Well, a very good afternoon to all our esteemed industry leaders, our policy makers, our innovators, our stakeholders, ladies and gentlemen, members of press and media. We are now beginning with the session. Might I request everybody to kindly settle down. A very, very warm welcome. My name is Mansi Mishra, and here we are at the session of Chemical, Petrochemicals and Plastics at the prestigious Utkarsh Odisha 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, before I proceed any further, I would request all of you to join me in welcoming one of the pillars of strength and progress for our state's economy, our Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, Srimati Pravati Parida Madam. Madam, good afternoon. बहुत स्वागत है आपका आज के इस कार्यक्रम में. We are also honored and blessed with the presence of our Honorable Minister, Industries and Skill Development, Technical Education, Government of Odisha, Shri Sampath Chandra Swai sir. नमस्कार, बहुत स्वागत है आपका भी. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this conclave, Utkarsh Odisha, is not just a platform for discussions, but a celebration of Odisha's unwavering spirit of growth and innovation. Over the years, it has become a beacon for industry leaders, innovators, policymakers to converge, collaborate, and contribute to Odisha's industrial renaissance. This year's theme reflects the state's aspiration to achieve transformative progress across multiple sectors with a strong emphasis on sustainability, technological advancements, and global competitiveness. The chemical and petrochemical sector in particular, as our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji spoke about in the inaugural session as well, plays a pivotal role and has immense potential in shaping Odisha's industrial landscape. This session offers a unique opportunity to delve into Odisha's vision of becoming a global leader in these industries while ensuring sustainability and fostering innovation. We will discuss transformative advancements in specialty chemicals, explore the rise of sustainable practices, and understand how Odisha's ecosystem is designed to support the next generation industries. With a focus on aligning with global benchmarks, this session will also emphasize the state's effort to drive inclusive growth, create employment opportunities, and strengthen its industrial base. Today, we are privileged to host eminent thought leaders, industry stalwarts, policymakers, strategists, who will definitely share valuable insights, strategies, and success stories. Their perspective will guide us in understanding how Odisha is positioning itself as a destination of choice for investments in chemicals, petrochemicals, and plastic sector. Well, without further ado, let us begin this journey of knowledge and collaboration. I now invite Mr. Manas Majumdar, partner and leader, Oil and Gas Sector, PwC India, to deliver the welcome address and to set the context for this session. Can we have a round of applause, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Mansi, and good afternoon, all. Thank you to Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, Minister of Industry, Skill Development, and industry leaders, and lot of, I can see people in the industry and more importantly, interested in chemicals, petrochemicals, and plastics, and that too in Odisha. So, post-lunch sessions can be difficult, but I'm pretty sure we'll have an exciting set of insights, perspectives, and honestly, if you ask me, a bit of a roadmap towards how do we make Odisha, which is already good, great, right? I think that's really what the aim is about. And I'll kind of set the context a little bit about, stepping back first, looking at, petrochemical and chemicals in India is slated to be a $300 billion market. So part of it is consumption, but large part of it would also be exports, right? And if you think of it from that perspective, Odisha is super well placed, right? It can service the rest of the country, plus it has export opportunities. The ask, therefore, then is, how can Odisha aim to get a lion's share out of this 300 billion chemicals, petrochemicals market that we are talking about? And if you look at that, that 300 billion number is about 25 lakh crores. And I was looking at one of the Odisha state government's visions, which is to have 2.5 lakh crores invested in some of the priority sectors, such as, of course, chemicals, petrochemicals, textiles, manufacturing, and so on and so forth. So I think it dovetails, right? There is a ambition of the country. There is an aspiration of Odisha, right? And I think this is where we want to set the ball rolling of what next and what more we can do to get things going in creating Odisha as a chemicals hub. Now, when I say chemicals hub, right, I mean, many of the chemical industry veterans would know that West always comes, before in the recognition and the Gujarat model and all of that. And it is true, right? A large part of many of the industries have been set up there. And there are success stories to be seen around Dahej, the PCPIR that is driven by the chemicals ministry. But Dahej is probably the only success story out of the other four. I mean, one out of four. Paradeep is the next, right? And I don't see any of the Indian oil leaders here, but I think enough and more Indian Oil has done in setting up the refinery, the downstream expansion into petrochemicals, but more is required to go further down into downstream chemicals, specialty chemicals and plastics, right? The things that you and I as individuals use, right? That's really what drives consumption, and that's what we need to aim towards. And what really works, right? And we'll talk a little bit about that today. Is it nice or easier land availability? Yes. Cost of land? Yes. Feedstock? Yes. Infrastructure? It's a combination, right? And we'll talk a little bit about, and we'll maybe get some of the panels and some of the dignitaries to also share their thought. But equally, more than the, I would say, tangible things of infrastructure, power, utilities, I would say the people component, right? And the services component, R&D, technology. I think these are equally important in what makes an ecosystem, and that ecosystem makes the economy work, right? To really get the chemical ecosystem right, one needs to get the intangibles and the softwares right as well as the harder portion, which anyone, everybody, and we as a consulting firm, PwC, we do many of these project feasibilities and DFRs and so on and so forth. They talk about the numbers, at what cost have you got land, what are you sourcing your feedstock at, right? What is your IRR about, what technology licensing are you doing? So those are no, but the sustainability really happens in creating that ecosystem and that skill set into this picture. And honestly, here I would throw some light, again, having done some of the work in these areas, on global chemicals parks that have worked, right? So if I throw your attention to Marl, which is in West Rhine-Pfalz in Germany, it's a much smaller. It's about 10-15 square kilometer area, but it has the most concentrated of chemicals manufacturing that happens, and Germany is still considered a gold standard. You have the likes of BASF, Bayer that is there. And then you have the up and coming, for example, Saudi Arabia, right? So, the Jubail industrial city where Sadara, which is a joint venture, by the way, between Aramco and Dow, have set up a multi-billion-dollar complex, right? That is probably bigger than what Germany is, but they have been able to create that ecosystem right from feedstock to waste waste management, recycling, and of course the catchment area in terms of offtake as well as exports. So, and then of course, how can we forget China, right? And in fact, China is always in the news. Very recently in news, many of you would have heard from the AI event of DeepSeek that has happened. So it's always shaking us. So we cannot but ignore, we cannot definitely ignore China in this. China has many such parks, right? I mean, BASF itself is doing one as part of that in Nanjing. There's in Ningbo, there's in Guangdong. Many of you may be aware. And I think there are success mantras not only globally, but in India, and I think Odisha has that potpourri of those ingredients in place to make it happen. I think the honorable ministers in the state government have done a great job so far of bringing that ecosystem in place. Paradeep is one example. We'll talk about Gopalpur, infrastructure coming into play. But what more can be done for us to leapfrog? And I think the ambition is not just to grow, but I would say hyper grow, right? And I think that's what really is the kickstart that we need. And with that perspective, right, I mean, I'll just pause and, just talk about all the elements that have happened, which is, as I said, on the tangibles on the infrastructure side, what more needs to happen on the intangible side, and a little bit about the future, which we really want to hear and excite the audience here and kind of leave a mark for us to look forward to next year, that this is what we have set the benchmark for ourselves and this is what we want to do in the next year. But of course, things don't progress that fast in a project standpoint, but at least lay down the marker so that we can take it forward. Looking forward to the distinguished speeches and the great thoughts that we will have. And as I just kind of sum up at this point, looking forward to a roadmap that we can get from this distinguished panel going forward. With that, I'll hand over to Mansi.
Thank you very much, sir, for setting such a strong tone for the impactful session that is now we have already started with. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, I would request everybody to give us a few absolute undivided attention movements towards the screen, as we are now going to showcase the vision and initiatives of Odisha in the realm of chemicals and petrochemicals. Let's have a look.
Welcome to Odisha, the land of the rising sun, where tradition meets modernity, and every dawn promises new opportunities. Under the visionary leadership of Honorable Chief Minister Shri Mohan Charan Manji, Odisha is scripting a transformative tale of progress and prosperity. Odisha has emerged as a leader in ease of doing business. With best-in-class incentives and investor-friendly policies backed by advanced infrastructure and forward-thinking policies, Odisha is spearheading a transformative shift from a mineral-led development to a chemicals-driven industrial future. Strategically located with a vast coastline, Odisha is India's eastern gateway to global markets. With world-class ports, robust railways, seamless highways, and well-connected airports, the state offers unparalleled connectivity, making it a powerhouse for trade, commerce, and industrial growth in the chemicals and petrochemical sector. Central to this dynamic framework are Odisha's three main ports, seamlessly linking the state to opportunities across the world. Gopalpur exemplifies modern industrial excellence. It serves as a hub for innovation and industrial growth, setting benchmarks in sustainability and operational brilliance. A jewel in Odisha's industrial landscape, Paradeep is home to a major refinery and upcoming mega projects. It offers a robust ecosystem for chemicals and petrochemical sector. Dhamra, a key investment region, offers seamless connectivity, multimodal logistics, and a deep draft port for global trade. These strategic hubs strengthen Odisha's industrial landscape, positioning the state as a key player in India's petrochemical revolution. Coupled with abundant resources, a skilled workforce, and world-class infrastructure, Odisha is emerging as a global investment hub and chemicals and petrochemical powerhouse. Invest in Odisha. Invest in future.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was a sneak peek or a glimpse into what immense potential our state has for all of you. I hope you had, you enjoyed watching that video. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a very insightful presentation on the topic of catalyzing future. Odisha's strategic roadmap for chemicals and petrochemicals. And for the same, I humbly invite Mr. Bhupendra Singh Punya, IAS, Managing Director, EPICOL and EDCO. Can we have a round of applause as we welcome Shri Punya on stage?
Namaskar, good afternoon, Honorable Deputy Chief Minister Ma'am, Honorable Minister Industries, esteemed guests, speakers, panelists, dear friends, welcome again to the Bhubaneshwar, to Odisha. I think after watching that video, I will take little time in explaining why we are focusing on petrochemicals. As you know, we don't have crude. We have only 15 MTPA refinery only. But then why we have categorized chemicals and petrochemicals as our thrust sector, where we provide maximum incentives and facilitation. So for that, I will take you through this journey. See, as you all are aware, and I think very much experienced in the chemical sector. So Government of India, Government of Odisha and all state governments, they are working on Atmanirbhar Bharat. So it's the part of the import substitution. We are highly dependent on different countries for our chemical demands. Second thing is we are a growing economy, we are a growing state. So for that also per capita consumption of these chemicals will increase. Further, these chemicals, because the way lifestyle is changing, the way the construction, the infrastructure, the other things are changing, the use of different chemicals, not only in pharma, paints, plastics, but in almost all sections and sectors, it's changing. So that's why we think that Odisha can contribute to that Atmanirbhar thing. Slide please. So as you are aware, in the morning also, we are easternmost state and we are one of the fastest growing economy in the eastern India. At the same time, we are very youthful state in the sense that our population between the 18 to 35 years or 18 to 59 years is huge. Every year we generally produce around 3 lakhs of graduates and ITI pass outs. So for that matter, we are investing heavily in skill development. So coupling with the demand, with the infrastructure, with the locational advantage, incentive, we are poised. We think that in the eastern India, Odisha will be the hub of the chemicals and petrochemicals. So slides are back, so again I will repeat. We are a growing economy. We have demographic advantage. As I mentioned, we are a young state. At the same time, we have huge base of mining and metal sector. You are aware that we are largest producer of steel, stainless steel, alumina, aluminium, chromite, and around 1/3 of the coal. So all these industries, they require large number of chemicals. Earlier that base was not there, so these industries were being served from the neighboring states or from the other areas. But now the the critical mass has been attained, and now many players in these sectors, they are coming to Odisha. I will give you one example. You name any big player in the refractory industry, now we have in Odisha. Be national, be multinational. Why? Because from 4 million ton, 10 million ton, now we are around 35 million ton, and in the next 7 to 8 years, we are hoping for 100 million tons of steel per year. So you can visualize the demand for that. Same is, we are doubling the capacity of stainless steel. Same is with the aluminium and alumina. So then quantum of chemicals required for this industry in state itself is huge. At the same time, we are geographically located in such a way that we can serve the Eastern India, the Central India and the Asian region. And just few slides to tell you that we are not only saying that we are destination of choice or we are attracting investment. Numbers are saying the same thing, and this is more authentic. You people are from industry, I think you know that these are the RBI figures, the proposals converted and disbursed. So we are third in the country and we are the 11th largest state, but in terms of the investment, industrial investment, in mature investments, we are third. Next. So this I have mentioned that our mainstay, our main economic strength, we are blessed by the nature, by the God, so we have the resources. In this slide, I want to highlight only one thing, that our resources are not located in any particular district or in particular area. They are geographically spread throughout the state. That's why it's very, very important for us to develop infrastructure to cater to the need of the heavy industry. Next, please. So I mentioned these numbers earlier also, just for information. Again, I am repeating that our current capacity in steel, stainless steel, aluminium, and what is planned, so it's multiple times. We are anticipating that in coming few years, the demand for the chemicals in these industries throughout the state is going to be phenomenal. So I request all the investors, all the companies, whenever you have your expansion plan, your diversification plan, please consider Odisha. It's captive market, also well connected. Next, please. So these are our sectors which we say thrust sectors, emerging chemicals and petrochemicals, which we are having this session now. Why we are saying that we are more suitable than the other places? It's that we have large land bank, and for chemical industry, as far as my knowledge goes, they want to be near the port, because not only for the import export, and they want to be in a bigger complex, so the input of one can be output of others, and there can be synergy. There can be synergy in the distribution of gas or steam or deep sea discharge, ETP, CTP, all these things. So that's why we are developing chemical regions near our ports. Also, we are a power surplus state. Many of you may be surprised to know that even without any subsidy, our power tariff is around 6 rupees for industrial purpose, and that too reliable 24/7 power. That is very, very rare. Why? As you are aware that we are rich in coal, we have hydro, we are putting more thermal and also solar. So that's why we can provide you the quality power, I think one of the main ingredient or component of the chemical industry. At the same time, I am just repeating that, ports are it's ports-led prosperity, and more so for chemical sector. So we have 3 functional ports, 3 more coming, and many such locations where we can have the petrochemical regions and the industrial areas. Again, I will not repeat, because I have said that in state itself there is going to be huge demand for the different kinds of chemicals. As far as the existing ecosystem is concerned, it's not that we can be comparable to Dahej and the western part of the country, but I will say that we are making inroads in this complex system of chemicals. So our anchor is obviously IOCL at Paradip. More than that, they have started PTA MEG, and now they are putting up, you might have heard chairman in the morning, that dual feed naphtha cracker. and then many downstream products will be available. So for chemicals, petrochemicals also, it's the right time to consider Paradeep and nearby areas where you can come up with this thing. We have previous slide, many players, very old investors in this sector, they are expanding, but we want more and more robust ecosystem, more interdependent companies, so they can minimize their cost of doing business, and we can diversify our economy from metal sector to chemical sector also. So these are emerging opportunities I have mentioned earlier. So we provide good number of incentives apart from land, water and power, which is the responsibility of the state. Wherever you are, we will provide you good roads, dedicated power, water and land. Next, these are few as per our studies and knowledge. These are, previous slide please. These are few key chemicals where the demand in the state is increasing. So those who are in this, in these chemicals, they may consider, and we can discuss further on these. Next please. So this is our industrial infrastructure. As I mentioned, that we are on the national highway number 16, and then we have Western Expressway also connecting national highway 55. So again, it's a kind of repetition. You are aware, to make 1 ton of steel, we have to move around 4 tons of the material, and for aluminium it's 6. So to make 40 million ton steel, how much material has to move to and fro? That's why our infrastructure is very, very robust, and that includes ports, highways, railways. Next please. And these locations, we have land parcels, we are developing large industrial areas, and we have, this is for Paradeep. Next please. This is for Gopalpur. We have SEZ dedicated corridor connected with the Gopalpur. So you can say that you are within port. You don't have to go out of the port for your pipelines, for road, for water, for sea discharge, everything. It's very much favored by our industries from the chemical sector. SmartChem is already putting up a big plant there, and many more are in pipeline. Next please. As I have already mentioned, so I will not repeat it, that our geographical location is also of very advantageous to reach out, to import, to export, not only within the country but outside world also. Next please. So this is one more important slide which I would like you to pay some attention, that in this thrust sector, in chemical sector, we provide you 30% capital investment subsidy. If you are investing 100 rupees in plant and machinery, then in 5 equal installments, we will give you back 30 rupees. It's as simple as that. And then I mentioned earlier that our power tariffs are already very, very competitive. But again, to promote this sector, we are giving you rupees 2 per unit reimbursement for 5 years, just to make, it's a kind of hand-holding and support to the new industry. 100% reimbursement of net SGST, up to 200% of your investment in plant and machinery. This is additional, and for employment, because apart from diversification and growth of economy, the major focus of government is to provide employment. So to promote local employment, if you employ local people, then we reimburse 100% ESI, EPF up to 7 years in this sector. So, and there is no upper cap. So you can read, if you are investing 100 rupees, you are getting 30 rupees. If you are investing 10,000 crore, you will get 3,000 crore back. So there is no upper cap. So I think this, our policy as of now, as judged by you people only, is one of the best of its class in the country. That's why we hope and we are able to attract more and more investment in this thrust sector, especially chemicals and petrochemicals. So this is about our ease of doing business. We keep talking. Everyone says about single window. You people say that single window has multiple doors, but we have tried to plug as many as possible and working on it. So it's an honest feedback from you people that every state boasts of their single window with multiple doors, but we have very few. Even if they are there, then we are trying to close it. So we are open to ideas, we are open to your suggestions. If whatever is hampering the investor, we are ready to change it. And for that, we have been awarded by the Government of India, the Achiever State and Ease of Doing Business. Next, please. So it's not about only ease of doing business. I will request my investor friend, industry friends, if you compare the cost of doing business in all parameters, water, power, land, trained manpower, I think you will find Odisha more competitive than most of the states, because in the western part or in the developed industrial areas, now there are, congestion, there are negative externalities, not the positive one, which earlier used to attract the investment in those regions. So now we are open for it. So we have all positive externalities, and we will create good infrastructure as per the requirement of the industry. So with this, I will say, come and join us, and you can judge that our Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, our Honorable Minister, they are listening to it. They will listen the entire conversation, and whatever is positive, whatever is doable, whatever is desirable for us, definitely it will be considered. So once again, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for shedding light on what a thriving ecosystem Odisha has to provide for the industry and how committed we are with our vision and roadmap for the coming times. Thank you very much for the same. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have a special address on the topic of anchoring India's next-gen industries. I invite for the same Mr. Ranjit Ratha, Chairman and Managing Director of Oil India Limited. He is a distinguished geoscientist with over 26 years of expertise in the field and has been honored with the National Geoscience Award by the Honorable President of India. His career spans over a variety of roles in strategy, business development, and upstream asset management. Can we have a huge round of applause as I invite Mr. Ranjit Rath for his special address.
Thank you very much for that gracious reckoning. We have amongst us Honorable Deputy Chief Minister of the State, Honorable Minister of Industry of the State, MD, EPCOL, industry captains, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to share my thought, and after Mr. Punia's presentation, my job has become more easier. So initially I was thinking of talking about the PCPIR construct, the IOCL way of putting up petrochemical units, and then the derivatives that one would look forward to, and we will all look forward to the kind of session which is lined up. But sir, given your presence here, I have two things to share. One is first, our experience as Oil India Limited, and second, what the next generation is aspiring to. First of all, let me thank Government of Odisha for being such an support. And Mr. Punia, we are scouting for hydrocarbon in this part of the country. So as Oil India Limited, we have about 15,000 square kilometer of exploration acreage in Mahanadi onshore basin. And as we speak, we are running an exploration campaign which would have about 10 deep exploratory wells. We have already drilled 4 of them, and we are going to drill 6 more of them. So our idea is to establish possibility of hydrocarbon, which this state is so far not having, and rest all other mineral resources are there. The second component where we will seek the permission and support of the state government again is now Government of India has opened up the exploration landscape as part of the import substitution program, and we are now looking at the deep and ultra deep waters of Mahanadi offshore basin. And this is where we foresee Paradip becoming an anchor point for carrying out those offshore exploration activities. Till now, it was either the western coast or Kakinada in Andhra Pradesh. So considering Mahanadi offshore basin, deep and ultra deep water, exploration landscape opening up, Paradip could turn out to be that location. The third thing that we are getting support is converting under the Swachh Bharat mission and the Satat mission of Government of India, creating compressed biogas plants. So where Government of Odisha, Department of Industries and Ministry of Housing and Urban Development has supported us, and we are putting up a gas-based economy-driven approach of compressed biogas. That's about 1,000 crore investment. As we speak, we are signing an MOU today for another investment of 2,000 crore. Given the fact that it will be announced by Honorable Chief Minister, we will stay put there, but again, thanks to EPCOL and Government of Odisha, 100 acres of land in Paradip has already been allocated to us. Thank you very much for that. Now, why am I sharing this? The ecosystem is so friendly and so encouraging that we are not facing any problem. Now, the point is, it is incumbent upon all of us to see that how can we do something different. Now, let me share two such success stories that we are doing. As part of the diversification initiative under import substitution of Government of India, we have already put up a bamboo feedstock based 2G ethanol plant in Assam. And the Numaligarh refinery expansion is actually happening with crude oil being imported through Paradip. Now, if we could put up a refinery in Numaligarh by running one of the longest crude oil line of 1640 kilometers through Odisha coast, that means Odisha could be also the next export hub of importing crude oil or any such chemicals, converting it into utility items or specialty chemicals and export back. So that is something probably the Government of Odisha might consider. Second, as part of the 2G ethanol plant, which will be blended into the MS as part of Government of India's ambitious target of 20% blending, we are also producing phosphorus acid and acetic acid. And gentlemen, mind you, these are all green products. So they have immense export opportunities. So as the chairman of Numaligarh refinery as well, I would also encourage collaborations or offtake assurances which can come to Paradip. The specialty chemical can happen here and can be exported under the green tag. Because all the while within the mainland India we have been talking about all the products, Paradip, and given the location, vantage location of India, we can also look at the green tag and the specialty chemicals can be exported. But before I conclude, the construct of green hydrogen valley till now has been talked about in 7 locations, and Odisha could also be one such location where I would request Honorable Minister and MD EPCOL to also give a thought to it. Because we have plenty of solar options, and with the solar power options, water plentifully available in the coastal part of the country, Paradip could be also a green hydrogen hub. So with these thought processes, I am sure this will require some more tax incentives for considering these green alternatives. We are looking forward to an enriching discussion. Thank you very much for giving me this platform to share my thoughts. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Firstly, for your keen observation. and for actually highlighting the areas on which we can work on for potential growth in the sector. Thank you very much for the same, and also sharing your story with our Odisha government experience. Thank you very much for that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to invite the person who is spearheading the industry and skill development and technical education in our state government. It's time for the keynote address by Shri Sampad Chandra Swami, Honorable Minister, Industries and Skill Development and Technical Education, Government of Odisha. Can we have a huge round of applause? Thank you very much.
जय जगन्नाथ। ऑनरेबल डेप्यूटी चीफ मिनिस्टर श्रीमती प्रभाती परिड़ा जी, एमडी इपिकल, एमडी इडको, कमिश्नर कम सेक्रेटरी स्किल डेवलपमेंट टेक्निकल एजुकेशन श्री भूपिंदर सिंह पुनिया जी, श्री मानस मजुमदार जी, ऑयल एंड गैस सेक्टर पीडब्ल्यूसी इंडिया, रंजीत रथजी, सीएमडी ऑयल इंडिया, अमलान कांति दास जी, सीनियर वीपी लुमिनस पावर टेक्नोलॉजी प्राइवेट लिमिटेड, सीपी भरतिया, मेंबर ऑफ नोसी, पैनलिस्ट आदित्य बेरी जी, मनीष गिरी जी, एन सुरेश कृष्णन जी, मणिकांत नायक जी, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, Namaskar. It is my honor and privilege to address this esteemed gathering of industry leaders, visionaries and stakeholders at the chemical, petrochemical and plastics sectoral session of the Utkarsh Odisha, Make in Odisha Conclave 2025. This conclave is not just an event but a platform to expedite the vision of Samruddha Odisha 2036 and contribute to Viksit Bharat 2047. Today, Odisha has firmly positioned itself as a leader in India's chemical and petrochemical sector. The state is home to some of the most prominent chemical and petrochemical companies which have leveraged Odisha's strategic advantage to fuel their growth. Companies like Indian Oil Corporation Limited with its Paradip refinery have established Odisha as a key player in the petrochemical industry. The Paradip refinery, with an annual processing capacity of 50 million metric tons, has catalyzed the development of downstream industries, creating a robust ecosystem. Further, companies like Berger Paints, one of the largest paint manufacturing in India, are setting up state-of-the-art facilities in Khordha. Similarly, Deepak Fertilizer and Petrochemical Corporation Limited under SmartChem technology is setting up a plant for production of technical ammonium nitrate at Gopalpur. Odisha is also home to IPCO, which operates one of the largest fertilizer production facilities in Paradip. The plant plays a crucial role in meeting the agricultural needs of India, producing high quality fertilizer like DAP and NPK alongside IPCO. Paradip Phosphate Limited has established itself as a major producer of fertilizer in the region. Three companies contribute significantly to Odisha's industrial landscape while supporting the country's agricultural sector. Lakshmi Organic Industries, a leading player in the specialist chemical space, Chemours, a global leader in the titanium technologies and chemical solution. Kiri Industries, a major player in the dye and dye intermediates segment, and the renowned DCM Sriram Group have all decided to make Odisha their home. With companies like these already operational or under construction, the state is poised to become a global hub for a chemical and petrochemical. The chemical and petrochemical sector offers immense opportunity for investment, particularly in emerging and high-growth areas. Odisha's unique advantage includes the Paradip PCPIR, Petrochemical, Chemical and Petrochemical Investment Region, offers access to petrochemical feedstock and infrastructures, fostering industries like polymers, plastic and synthetic fibers. The growing demand for specially chemical such as agrochemical, food additives and industrial solution presents huge opportunities for investors. Odisha is making rapid strides in the green energy sector, whether it is green hydrogen and green fuel production or green equipment manufacturing. They are aligning the state with global climate goals and sustainability. Odisha's plastic recycling initiatives and focus on the circular economy reflect its commitment to sustainability while offering investment potential in advanced materials. Odisha's unmatched advantages make it the ideal destination for chemical and petrochemical investments. Odisha's proximity to Southeast Asia and its deep water ports such as Paradip, Dhamra and Gopalpur provide seamless access to global markets. The Paradip Plastic Park and Technical Textile Park in Bhadrak are part of a robust industrial infrastructure that supports the entire chemical value chain. Odisha's GoSweep platform offers end-to-end digital solution for land allotment, approvals and operationals, ensuring a seamless experience for investors. Through the Skill in Odisha initiative, the state is creating a future-ready workforce equipped with experience in advanced manufacturing, chemical and renewable energy. Odisha is committed to sustainability in every aspect of its industrial growth. The state's recent partnership with global leaders like Semcor and Sarvana Jurong highlight our effort and adopt green technologies and build sustainable industrial ecosystem. We are also proud to host a circular economy session during this conclave, which will bring together industry experts to develop a vision for Odisha's circular economy ecosystem. Our vision is clear: to establish Odisha as a global hub for chemical and petrochemical, attracting investment and drive innovation, create jobs and contribute to sustainable growth. With rising global demand and strong domestic consumption, Odisha is poised to meet the needs of both domestic and international markets. This conclave is a testament to our commitment to fostering partnerships, promoting innovation and creating a vibrant industrial ecosystem. I invite all industry leaders, investors and innovators to join us in this transformative journey. Odisha offers a unique opportunity to not only grow your business but also contribute to the state's vision of a Samruddha Odisha and a Viksit Bharat. Invest in Odisha, invest in future. Bande Utkal Janani, Jai Hind.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद माननीय मंत्री महोदय. I must say that with the blessings of our Honorable Chief Minister Shri Mohan Charan Maji and under your extensive leadership, this is the sunrise of industrial excellence for our state, Odisha. Thank you very much for your address. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed any further, we would like to take the opportunity to welcome and felicitate our speaker and our panelists for the session. For the same, I would request our Honorable Deputy Chief Minister Madam Srimati Pravati Parida to please come on stage, and I would also invite Shri Sampath Chandra Swami Sir, our Honorable Minister, Industries and Skill Development and Technical Education, Government of Odisha. I would request everybody, may you please join me with a round of applause as I welcome Sir and Madam to the stage. अब हमारे आदरणीय डिप्टी चीफ मिनिस्टर और आदरणीय मंत्री जी के हाथों से शुभ हाथों से वी वुड लाइक टू फेलिसिटेट मिस्टर रंजीत रथा, चेयरमैन एंड मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर ऑयल इंडिया लिमिटेड. May you please sir come on stage and thank you so much for your presence and talk. And now we'll be inviting and welcoming our panelists. I begin by inviting Mr. Manish Kiri, Chairman Kiri Industries Limited. जोरदार तालियों के साथ हम सर को इस मंच पर स्वागत करते हैं. And I would request our dignitaries to kindly felicitate Mr. Manish P. Kiri, who is the Chairman of Kiri Industries, one of the largest manufacturer and exporter of wide range of dyes, intermediates and chemicals from India. He also serves as the Trade Commissioner for Asian countries and Chairman of the Chemical and Petrochemical Committee of Gujarat Ashocham. Thank you so much, sir, for your presence. I would request and invite sir to please be seated and join us for the beginning of the panel discussion right after this. I would then welcome our next panelist, Mr. N. Suresh Krishnan, Managing Director, Paradeep Phosphate Limited. अनुरोध करना चाहूँगी हमारे माननीय डिप्टी चीफ मिनिस्टर मैडम और माननीय मंत्री जी कि उनके शुभ हाथों से उनको सम्मानित करें. Shri N. Suresh Krishnan is the Managing Director and CEO of Paradeep Phosphate Limited, one of India's largest private sector producers of phosphatic fertilizers. With over 2 decades of experience, Mr. Krishnan has been associated across diverse sectors like fertilizer, energy, sugar and cement sectors. Thank you very much, sir, for your presence, and I would invite you to please join us on the dais for the panel discussion. I would then welcome and invite Mr. Aditya Berry, President, Commerce INC. Zordar taaliyan ho jaye as I invite Mr. Berry. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Aditya Berry is the President of the Commerce Company, a global chemistry company with leading market positions in titanium technologies, thermal and specialized solutions, and advanced performance materials. He has nearly 20 years of experience in chemical industry. Thank you very much, sir, for your presence. May you please be seated. I now invite our very next panelist, Mr. Manikant Nayak, Managing Director, Tata Steel Special Economic Zone. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Nayak is the MD of Tata Steel Special Economic Zone with a deep understanding of industrial operations and business development. He spearheads the company's strategic initiatives and has played a pivotal role in establishing Tata Steel SEZ as a leader in the region. Thank you very much, sir, for your presence, and we look forward to your inputs into the panel discussion. And now, ladies and gentlemen, our moderator for the session will be Mr. Manas Majumdar. We heard from him at the very beginning of the session. He gave us the welcome address. I invite sir to please come on stage, and I would request our Honorable Deputy Chief Minister Madam and our Honorable Minister to please felicitate Mr. Majumdar. Well, he is an engineer from IIT Delhi and an MBA from IIM Calcutta. He began his journey with Tata Group and then transitioned to strategic consultancy with Kearney, where he advised global clients across the US, Middle East, Singapore and India. Passionate about tackling challenges in energy, Mr. Majumdar now focuses on energy transition, decarbonization and green hydrogen. So we have one more special address. I would request sir and madam to please stay back. मैं अनुरोध करूंगी मैडम से और सर से कि कृपया एक और फेलिसिटेशन आपके शुभ हाथों से हम करवाना चाहेंगे. We have one more speaker for the session, Mr. Amlan Kanti Das, Senior Vice President, Operations and R&D, Luminous Power Technologies Private Limited. He will be giving a special address on advanced chemistry battery cell manufacturing to the later part of the session. I would request Shri Das to please come on stage, and I would request our Honorable Deputy Chief Minister Madam and Honorable Minister to please felicitate sir. Mr. Amlan Kanti Das is the Senior Vice President, Manufacturing in Luminous Power Technologies, a leading Indian provider of power backup and solar solutions. He has over 29 years of experience in operations, R&D and product development. He has held leadership roles at Exide Industries, Tata Steel and Gujarat Guardian. Thank you very much, sir, for your presence. एक बार फिर से हम हमारे आदरणीय ऑनरेबल डिप्टी चीफ मिनिस्टर मैडम का धन्यवाद करना चाहेंगे. जोरदार तालियां हो जाए और धन्यवाद करना चाहेंगे हमारे आदरणीय मंत्री महोदय का. With that, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to begin our panel discussion on the topic of specialty chemicals, Odisha's path to global competitiveness. I hand over the session to our moderator, Mr. Manas Majumdar. So please.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah. Great. Again, afternoon, and I think thank you to the Honorable Minister for his inputs on all the good things that have happened. Mr. Punya, who really sold on Odisha well. And I think with that, I think got a very distinguished panel who have significant, I would say, either presence in Odisha or plans to be, let us put it that way. So we'll hear a spectrum of perspectives of why Odisha is doing well and what more honestly can be done. With that, Mr. Krishnan, I'll come to you first. I think Paradeep Phosphates having the most... are people at the back able to hear, or is there a bit of echo? Okay, we'll persist and continue. I'll maybe share my mic with you, Mr. Krishnan, but I think I was just saying, coming to you, given Paradeep Phosphates is, I would say in a sense, veteran in Odisha. I think somewhere in 80s the plant was set up. You've been operating since then. And you've seen honestly the growth of Odisha happening, the industrial boom coming in recently, of course. What has been your thoughts, in how you've seen Paradeep Phosphates grow and Odisha as a state, as an enabler in some of that growth, and what takeaways would you have for the panel and for the rest of the audience here?
Thank you, Manas. I think I'll take a cue from what you said during context setting. I think the reason why an industry gets into a state or a location, there are softer angles, there are harder angles to this. But when it comes to Paradeep, the only reason why Paradeep came in here was the infrastructure. We as a company, as a chemical manufacturing company, do not take any raw material from the state. Entire thing is imported for us, and we convert all that into the final product. And it's also important to note that Government of India and the state government both realized that for a large fertilizer chemical complex, you need massive infrastructure for imports, you need massive infrastructure for reaching the product to the market. And both of these have been provided effectively in this state over the last 3 decades that we get to see. But I must tell you, the big growth that really happened in the sector has been for us over the last 20 years. And it's very important to note that we all keep talking about large investments in petrochemicals and related areas, but it's as a context, all of you should remember one thing, that 50% of the agriculture production is because of fertilizer being manufactured and used by the farmers, which is a very important thing. And if you look at the overall capacity at Paradeep, of the indigenous capacity that we have, close to 2/3 of the diammonium phosphate is manufactured here. So Paradeep and Odisha is a very important state for India's agriculture economy. So this is something which has been very, very major out here. The way I get to see it, there are two things which has happened here. We had a government which was very proactive, allowed us to function, and was very receptive to the needs that we had, which continues to be so as we speak right now. I think both the bureaucracy and the government needs to be complemented over the years for really supporting this. Second most important thing is talent availability. I personally believe that Odisha gives you the right kind of talent for industrial manufacturing, both in terms of skill when it comes to a manufacturing job, and also unskilled when it comes to the evacuation job and other things that we end up doing. So both have been very exciting for us, and I must truly compliment Paradeep Port for maintaining the port the way it is, for creating the kind of infrastructure. Because for every ton that we make, we close to import 4 tons of material from the global supply chain. So that's a big thing for us. Very encouraged right now, and I would say that we are expanding in a big way. I'm sure with the current conclave, we're looking at expanding ourselves, doubling our capacity. And that's going to be very key, not only for us, for the India's food security in the coming years.
No, I think that's very important, and I think you highlighted a few interesting points. I think the supply chain part, the port infrastructure, it not only, and I think Mr. Punya also highlighted, helps bring in feedstock and critical material, but also provides an avenue for exports, right? But I'll also talk about a couple of other things. We'll talk about it because you mentioned we're talking about chemicals, but agriculture we miss. That's the starting point and foundation, right? And Paradip Phosphate has been doing a lot of yeoman's job of doing DAP. But as we talk about agriculture and it sounds traditional, I also want to throw in the next buzzword, which is green ammonia, right? And we'll talk about that a little later because DAP suits very well for that. Coming to you, Manish, I wanted to, first of all, thank you for your, efforts of getting into Odisha as you look to set up your plans and plants in Odisha. Let me you also, and I touched upon this earlier as well, that, we look to the West, even in India, we look to West India, so to speak, as what has happened. You have presence in West. What made you look at Odisha and, what has really been, the key takeaways you've seen, your opening thoughts on what Odisha brings to the table and why you see, honestly, the growth happening here?
Thank you, first of all, to give me an opportunity to address here. There is a combination of factors, and when we decided to come and invest here in Odisha, there are a number of factors that played a key role. The first factor is the investor-friendly industrial policy here. I would say, one of the best policies in India today. The second and another important factor is the efficiency in the governance. What we have period of last 6 months, the speed at which we got the approvals, the speed which got the clearance is phenomenal here. So we saw quite a speed and efficiency the way the Odisha government has supported the project here. Third factor is the port and proximity to port. Any specialty chemicals and chemical industry need proximity to port, and Sri Punyaji addressed very well that also an important factor that played a role in coming here. Because specialty chemical sector is the one which is dependent on exports. So having visibility to port is very important factor. And fourth is the availability of feedstocks. The current availability of feedstocks, the future availability of feedstocks, availability of petrochemicals, which is expected to come in the next several years. These are also critical factors which helped us to decide to come here. And above all, I will further endorse what Punyaji said. We compared the incentives for almost 6 states, including Gujarat, by the way, where we have base there. And beyond doubt, the opportunity which has been presented here for chemicals is #1 in India, right? We have been a part of Gujarat growth story for last 25 years, and we see the same can be replicated here in Odisha. The way it has started from this event today and the attractiveness that has been created by the state, we strongly believe that this will go a long way to develop a chemical, specialty chemicals, performance chemicals, the whole ecosystem here in Odisha. Thank you.
No, thank you. And I think you rightly highlighted it's a whole package, right? And of course the incentives help. I think Mr. Punya had a very attractive slide, and I think we should have that slide shown again at the end to induce more investments in Odisha. So, no, but I think jokes apart, I think a lot of effort has been made. And I want to draw special attention to one thing, Mr. Kiri, you mentioned. We talked about ease of doing business, cost of doing business, but speed of doing business, right? Because see, you might be good, you might provide incentives, but if there are delays, one knows how time is itself a cost of money, right? And chemicals is such a market, it is almost cyclical in that sense, right? So if you time your cycle wrong, as we saw in the post-Ukraine era, many investments have not done so well, right? So how one can be speedy and fast in one's approvals and in the whole process makes a big difference of how one puts in investments. With that, Aditya, coming to you and probably trying to get a bit of a global perspective here, right, as your opening remarks. I know Chemours has presence in India. You're exploring potential options. I mean, how does India look so far in Chemours' journey, and in particular, where does Odisha stack up? I'm pretty sure you would have done your equivalent evaluations like Manish was highlighting, Gujarat, Andhra, Odisha, etc. But talk a little bit about Chemours' plans for India and growth, and in particular Odisha, your thoughts.
First of all, thank you, and thank you to the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister and Honorable Minister for hosting us today. I think there's two main reasons why Chemours looks to India. One is obviously the demographic trends that you referenced earlier. As a manufacturer of titanium dioxide, 60% of our volume goes to coatings and 30% goes to plastics. So as India evolves in its consumption per capita of those materials, it's obviously going to be a very attractive market for us. For Odisha in particular, it comes down to feedstocks. So a critical raw material for us is ilmenite. India has the third largest amount of reserves of that material. Odisha leads India's amount of reserves. So for us, ensuring that availability of ilmenite comes and commercializes is of utmost importance for us.
Sure. Maybe sticking to that, so feedstock of course important, but maybe I'm just breaking the pattern and I'll come to you, Manikanta, subsequently. You touched a little bit about the downstream, right? But can you throw a little bit, what would it take in terms of the downstream ecosystem, right? So you have the automotive coatings, the plastic downstream, so it could be bottle caps, it could be whatever, right? You need some of those paint and decorative chemicals that Chemours comes into play with. What has worked elsewhere in creating that downstream ecosystem, and what more do you think is required here?
I think a couple of things. One, I would say, and I think Odisha is especially set up for this, is innovation. So in a lot of these downstream applications, it's very competitive. And China is also a big competitor in a lot of these markets. So having the amount of skilled labor that you do that can build innovative thinking into how to drive low-cost manufacturing for these applications is going to be important in its competitiveness. I think the other thing that I would say is necessary to be successful is advocacy. So when I talk about advocacy, I talk about ensuring fair trade practices for the ecosystem that gets built here. Again, very competitive marketplaces that can be impacted by imports into India, but also for the exports that India seeks to generate, they'll be selling into competitive markets as well. So having a good advocacy infrastructure to work with governments both within India and outside of India to say, let's make sure that there's free trade and fair trade associated with the products that we make is also going to be important.
Some very interesting points you highlighted, Aditya, which is around, the innovation to not just manufacture, but to kind of get into the downstream offtake parts, right? A lot of the thinking has to happen there, but also creating a global ecosystem. It's not just make in India, but make in India for the world, right? So I think thinking of it in that bigger picture context helps. So coming to you, Mr. Manikant, I mean, Tata Steel has significant presence, of course, in Odisha, right? Your Kalinganagar plant, and I think Mr. Narendran was mentioning in one of the videos the amount of billions of dollars that have been invested, and Gopalpur SEZ, which you are specifically looking at. You're part of what are the requirements of some of the panelists. You're creating that infrastructure, you're creating that ecosystem. So can I, get your views first of all on, why create the Gopalpur SEZ and why Gopalpur in particular, and what is it that unique value proposition Tata Steel is bringing within that? Some of the USPs that you think really make it worth for the panelists and other investors.
No, first of all, thank you, Mr. Manas.
It's pleasure to be in this panel in presence of Honorable Deputy CM and our Honorable Minister of Industries. As you rightly said, Tata Steel's presence in the state is spans over to more than a century. We are known for manufacturing steel, also in mining. But if you look at our experience as the industrial park developer, we are new to this business. And I can tell you very honestly that we work very closely with the ITCO and the EPICAL to learn from them, work with them, collaborate with them, because our purpose is same. If you look at what is the purpose of the government of Odisha, they try to create the ecosystem to attract the investment so as to create the economical growth as well as the employment. I believe our objective and the objective of the Odisha government is same. Wherever the EPICAL they go out for the road shows, we always tag ourselves with the EPICAL. So I tell you very interesting facts about the Gopalpur Industrial Park. So we have not so been successful at Gopalpur in attracting investment till recently. So if I look at our status as of now, probably we have now close to 10 industries are operating or in the process of operating. So why it has become so successful? Of course, I put it in 3 buckets. Number one is, first of all, I should give my credit to the government of Odisha for the very industry-friendly policies. First of all, this IPR 2022, which actually, as Mr. Punia explained during his presentation, has actually given lot of incentives, lot of attractiveness to the industries. They call it red carpet to the red industries. So that because in this context of this petrochemical and chemical conclave, so that is probably one of the very important enabler for the sector, from the chemical sector, to come and join us in Odisha. Second is from the infrastructure point of view, as I heard the other panelists, the connectivity to the port is very essential. As Mr. Punia also mentioned about the Deepak fertilizer, Honorable Minister also talked about the Deepak fertilizer. They are in the process of commissioning. They are one of the largest plant in Odisha at Gopalpur. So if you look at one of the requirement is to connect our industrial park with the port. So which was undertaken by the ITCO. I can tell you, as because it involved lot of external stakeholders. I believe this is one of the success stories by the government of Odisha to execute at a record time. It's almost in the verge of completion. And apart from this road port connectivity, we have all the other mode of logistics or the transportation, whether road, railway, even next to our park we have a airport which is also getting developed. So besides that, I heard that the CMD Indian Oil was mentioning about the green hydrogen, and I'm very happy to mention 2 things on this subject. One is at Davos on 22nd of this month, the World Economic Forum has admitted our Gopalpur Industrial Park is one of the industrial cluster to be recognized as part of their transitioning of the industrial cluster initiative. It's a very good concept. Primarily they look at how the potential of the industrial park to create the employment, create the decarbonization and as well as the economical activities. So we are very happy to announce that we have been now part of the World Economic Forum's initiative of transitioning the industrial cluster in a different mode. That's the second. Third is, of course, we are available as a plug and play model. We have everything. You have a secured land, you have all the utilities, so the power, water. So anybody can come and start investing. You can see in our audience also a lot of investors who are also in discussion with us, and I'm very sure we can join hand with the government of Odisha in attracting many more industries to the state and be part of this juggernaut. Yeah, thanks.
No, thank you, and congratulations on the nomination as selected as a transitional industry cluster. I hope we see many more, and best of luck with that. Coming back to you, Suresh, I think we talked about investing in Odisha, and of course this is also about investing in future. I wanted your thoughts on two aspects. One is of course, green hydrogen, and I wanted your thoughts on green ammonia. See, so what I am really looking at is what are Paradip Phosphate's plans, right, in terms of course you've grown in the state, but are there plans beyond Paradip, Gopalpur, Dhamra, elsewhere? What are your future plans? And where does green ammonia and green hydrogen play? What are some of the innovative new things that Paradip Phosphate is looking at as part of its growth plans in Odisha?
Yeah. Well, when it comes to growth, at this point of time, our 5-year vision clearly is supporting a substantial amount of investment in Paradip itself. And when I talk about Paradip investment, this will be a significant material investment in the sulfur processing, which will take us to a very large sulfuric acid complex from the current levels of 1.2 million to taking us to 3 million tons, which is what that we are working on today. And we should be 1.9 million tons in the next 6 months, and in the next couple of years we will be increasing further. And coming to the phosphoric acid side, where we currently have a capacity of 500,000, our intent now is to take it to 1 million ton, for which we are signing the MOUs, and Paradip this site will become one of the largest sites for phosphoric acid anywhere in the country, and globally competitive. So that's the kind of vision that we have. Coming back to hydrogen and green ammonia, I think as a fertilizer company, we support both. And I personally believe green ammonia is an opportunity for fertilizer companies, provided green hydrogen is available at the right quantity, at the right price to us. I would, as somebody who is looking at the fertilizer sector today, my view would be that Paradip is an ideal site for green ammonia and also consuming green hydrogen. Why I say it's ideal is, as a location, Paradip port today imports close to 700,000 tons of ammonia. So we have a tremendous ability to bank ammonia, which is not there anywhere else in the country. I don't think there's any location in the country today which can manage 700,000 tons. So anybody who's making green ammonia today, till it gets consumed by an international market, if it needs to be banked, we are right there, number one. Number two, as a fertilizer manufacturer, this also gives us an opportunity for a backward integration. Ammonia is a raw material for me. We buy ammonia from the Middle East and the Far East, and we could replace that ammonia by having green ammonia. And I believe that over the next 5 years, the hydrogen cost will get corrected, and green ammonia pricing and the gray ammonia pricing will converge in a way that this becomes exciting. At the same time, we should also be in a position to make green fertilizer products which will have a market. So we as an organization are very excited, very closely studying this. I've been in touch with the government of Odisha about this. I have always mentioned this to them that a green ammonia site in Paradip, it will be a reality pretty soon. Gopalpur apart, I think we are focused on Paradip and converting that into a big green site.
Go ahead. I think he has a point. Yeah. No, I think that's. Can we?
Yeah, that's fine. So, I would like to add to what, we spoke about the green hydrogen. I would like to give a context. You know that Government of India has come out with a green hydrogen mission to manufacture 5 million ton of green hydrogen by 2030. That's the target they have, So what you must have heard what Mr. Punia said. Along with the Government of Odisha, we are trying to create an ecosystem at Gopalpur. So far, we have onboarded 4 manufacturers on the green hydrogen sector, totaling the quantity of more than 12% of the commitment that has been set by the Government of India by 2030. So, this I believe in the entire country, so far Gopalpur has attracted investment which is close to 36,000 crores of rupees. So that is the kind of investment already committed. And again, I should be thankful to ITCO for providing all the facilitation from the utility point of view. That is one. Number two is,
MNRE, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, they have recently announced to participate in their call for proposal to declare ourselves as a hydrogen hub, and we are working closely with the MNRE to make ourselves qualified for that. If that happens, probably many more green hydrogen companies are also going to join in their manufacturing facilities at Gopalpur. Yeah, thank you.
No, so there are clearly exciting times, as you rightly highlighted, Manikanta, that if you become a hydrogen hub, there will be central incentives. So there is, of course, the green hydrogen mission, there is the site auctions that GHM is looking at, which could address part of what PPL is looking at, but of course more is required, because, it's not just looking towards green, but look at it this way, we are looking at energy security or import security. If you are able to import substitute, it benefits the whole of the Indian economy, right? So it makes a lot of difference. Manish, coming to you as a second question, you of course have looked at Odisha, you are setting up your plant here. If I were you ask your views of the future, right? One is of course making sure that the plant comes online and it works and all of those things that come in. But what would you see as some of the future focus that has to come in, right? In terms of maybe it's R&D, it is innovation, skills. What additionally will need to happen for not only to set up your plant but operate your plant successfully?
So there are few critical things. I would say those can be considered as a challenge for the whole industry. Number one is access to technology. Even today also, a lot of chemicals that we produce, not only imported, but we are highly dependent on getting technology from outside. Correct? So access to technology is an important area where the industry as a whole need to focus and work on. Second is the availability of skilled manpower. I know, for mining, there is a lot here where ITIs and skilled manpower is available. But for chemicals, specialty chemicals, which includes the largest, the larger area, agrochemicals, it includes pharmaceuticals, APIs, right? To have a right skill set here would need to work on. So that's the second area where the government as well as the industry both might have to work together to develop the skill sets.
No, you're right. So I think having people and the demographics is relevant, but skilling them so that they become more relevant, into the whole picture. Right. And of course, technology, right? Getting into manufacturing, but getting into R&D and having the technology in-house. Could be in Odisha, could be elsewhere in India, but having access to that becomes important, and I think partnerships also goes a long way.
Very true, very true. Both the projects that we have conceptualized here in Odisha, there are 5 technology providers, all are from outside to give us the access to the technology in India. And the finished products are replacing little more than $3 billion of imports in India. Right, so it's again the plain import replacement to produce and make in India here. But again, the challenge has been the access to technology here.
No, agree. Setting up a plant is not easy, and access to technology is a key part. Aditya, coming to you, I think, Chemours is, I would say, more a technology company than a chemical company, right? So, I mean, are there, and again, this is a more forward-looking future question beyond, your plans for Odisha or elsewhere, but are there thoughts of Chemours setting up an R&D center, technology in India, elsewhere, and, getting into the picture, because the options are significantly more, right? There is a metals and mining industry here, right? So some of that R&D could be towards chemicals and catalysts thereof, could be towards what you are doing. Does the technology and services angle and the future innovation that you see there, what are the plans that you can looking at?
We can never say never, right? So I think from India and Odisha as a hub of technical knowledge, there's no doubt that there's value creation to be done in India, particularly as innovations in coatings, plastics, and so on take on within India. we have to make sure that our products can serve what those innovations are, and getting closer to the customer and understanding what their needs are going to be critical. So while we have no current plans to build a technology center in India, going where the market is and where the intellectual capital is makes sense as something to think about as an option in the future.
Okay, so as you said, never say never, so it's definitely a potentiality, and maybe we'll get you to stick to that at some point. But coming to you, Manikanta, I think again just the same question on future. I think you talked about some of the incentives that the Odisha government is doing. You talked a lot about the infrastructure that you're bringing in. We talked about innovation, of course, green ammonia as an option. I want to talk about another. Makes sense to do it local or centrally somewhere, and then move it. So say hydrogen pipelines or feedstock pipelines. So all of those connectivity and integration aspect, and one other aspect of integration, we think about it just manufacturing, but downstream integration, right? So can we have, say textile parks, plastic parks, because you can set up a plant, but if one does not have assurance of the offtake or where it will go, the multiplier benefits also gets to be a bit of a challenge. So what are your thoughts on the integration aspects of an SEZ?
Okay, as you say that it's not advisable to put all the eggs in the same basket. And as you rightly said, we engaged one of the very renowned designer, to conceptualize the entire industrial park. So they have put the entire industrial park into two segments. One is the special economic zone, as I said, the units who are going to export their product to outside the country, and almost like 50% area is available for the domestic tariff area. Gopalpur Industrial Park is a multi-product industrial park. So you can have any kind of product manufactured at Gopalpur. You'll be surprised to know we have the largest tea blending and packaging unit existing at Gopalpur. They normally supply to the southern part of the country. Let me address your question in another angle. You will be very happy to know EPICAL has also put a agency in the name of DIPA, District Industrial Policy Agency, at the district level to handhold the industry's requirement at the ground level. They work very closely with the district administration and facilitate the requirements. That is one of the angles the government also kind of put in place. So they are also very active at the ground. They also support. That is number one. Number two, also from the utilities point of view, we work with the respective department of the government and accordingly try to suffice their needs. So that is the second angle. I believe, as I said at the beginning, from that context, our park is a plug and play model. So of course, for the green hydrogen, which is actually the requirement of the power, is huge quantity of power they need to manufacture the hydrogen for those kind of sector. We come back to the government for a kind of special infrastructural support. So that's why I said at the beginning, we work very closely with the government for the infrastructural support. For example, supply of the power or going beyond the park. So it is the government who support us in developing the infrastructure. So from the integration point of view, as you know that Gopalpur port, there is also, right now this is being managed by Adani, or the airport is being, or the railway is managed by somebody else. So as an industrial park developer, we try to collaborate with each and every agency and try to make it, facilitate the entire journey of the manufacturing. So this is how it is. And second point is, we are also closely working as a team at a periodic interval to understand each other's problems and address the issue. So they are the platform available with us to address certain common concerns and the needs. Yeah.
I think that's a very important aspect you highlighted. It's not necessarily doing everything, but knowing everything and facilitating that to come into play, and they can be separate, like you mentioned the DEPA, right? That is addressing some of the infrastructural issues are very local, or probably hyper local to that extent. So getting that done at a district level and knowing who that is and coordinating, I think that is a key part of allowing that. And I think what will be critical is having that picture, and that will be, and I know I'll maybe have one more last round of questions. It's like a ask of the government to think of that bigger picture and that coordination, right? Getting each of the ingredients, but also having that, cook or master chef, if I were to say, which can bring those ingredients together. That coordination aspect for it to really work will be a critical, and I'm pretty sure IPCOL does a lot of that, but it also has to happen at a very local level. With that, and we'll maybe reverse the order, and staying with you, Manikant, I talked about a bit of a roadmap, so I'll make it a little bit of a chat show kind of a format, and just two things from you, right? One thing that you would want more from the state government, right? It's a bit of a give and take. What one thing you would want to get from the government, and what is one thing you would want to give or promise, your commitment, as I said, as a roadmap to Utkarsh Odisha?
No, Manas, thank you for this wonderful question. I'm very, very happy. Probably this is the opportunity to also, talk to the government present here. So, if I look at Odisha government, it's the oldest state. They have always the, surplus in their fund. And from that context, though government is doing a lot of infrastructural projects, I think, they can also think of in their coming days how to earmark little more than what has been done so far. So this is a request on behalf of the industry, is if they can also look at it seriously and see that, because it's a word of mouth. The way government is going to reciprocate, the attractiveness is going to go up manyfold. That is one thing. My request to the government to support, and my commitment back to the government, as I said at the beginning, government always, pro people. They like to create the economical activities as well as the employment. On behalf of the Gopalpur Industrial Park, we commit, work with the government, and I'm dead sure within next 2 years' time, 24 months, we will be, with your guidance and the support, we can attract and make the entire industrial park at Gopalpur complete with the investment, which is going to create the employment of not less than another 10,000. This is a commitment from our side.
Excellent. You set the tone. Aditya, you're up next. And of course, if not a commitment, but at least an ambition, but what is one thing that you would want or ask, and what's your commitment or ambition?
So maybe not directly related to chemicals, but as I mentioned earlier, opening up the access to the reserves of ilmenite in the ground in Odisha is an ask that I would have to the government. And then our commitment would be to make Odisha a world player in the sale and distribution of those ilmenite ores, and make it, a critical feedstock to not only us, but other markets beyond us.
And maybe we'll see Chemours headquarters shift here, but that's too much. Okay, so Manish, to you, your, ask and your commitment.
See, our commitment to the government is, we would try to develop the downstream and bring our customers here as much as we can, right? So we want to develop, we want our customers also to be here. So we want to develop the whole integrated chemical complexes by bringing other players as a cluster approach. That is what we will attempt, and we will promise government to do. And what we expect from the government is to continue the speed and don't slow down. That's the only expectation here.
Excellent. Thank you. So continue the momentum, but I think the commitment you give is a very important, because I think, and I touched upon the word partnership, the government cannot do everything on its own. Exactly. So if the industry comes together and you can bring your down, I mean, as they say, it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a park and an ecosystem to grow an economy. So I think
government has done tremendous job by attracting especially chemical industry players from west to here. that is like swimming against the wave.
Yes, yes.
Which they have already done. So it's industry's part to play more role.
Yes,
To
absolutely.
develop the entire cluster here. Yeah.
Agreed. Thank you. Suresh, to you.
Well, I think one major thing that the government can do, not by itself, but actually working with the central government, is to help evacuation out of Paradip. Paradip is getting to a peak capacity today, where product evacuation either by road or rail is becoming a big challenge. We must realize that India imports close to about 15 million tons of fertilizer of various grades, and the western ports are choked. I can get you 1/3 of that cargo coming in here. You see the opportunity that you'll have for your plastic park, you'll have for your transporters, your laborers, and then all kinds of things. It'll be humongous. I think it's a great opportunity waiting right there, and it could be done very quickly. Evacuation is something that you have to focus, your roads have to be good, your trucks have to be available, you have to work with your central agencies to make sure that rail infrastructure is significantly improved for Paradip. All other locations in the Western India is much better position than where Paradip is today.
And your commitment?
I'm saying that out of the 15 million tons of fertilizer, 1/3 I'll bring it here.
Yes, the doubling of capacity is 3 million tons. Yes. No, I think that's a very important point. We talk about sometimes the macro infrastructure, but I think the point Suresh mentioned about congestion and bottlenecking, right? The nth level detail is sometimes, the devil is truly in the details. That is where we sometimes get stuck, and then that's where the angst of the industry comes. This is not working, this is not good enough, you promised me this didn't happen. I think the continuous momentum, and I'll stay with that word, Odisha is Utkarsh. I think उत्कृष्ट रहने के लिए आपको और भी उसी momentum के साथ लगे रहना पड़ेगा. And I think with that, I'll thank the panelists. I think they've been a great sport answering all the questions and their commitments and asked. Thank you so much to the panelists. Thank you.
I would request our panelists and the moderators to please stay back. There is a special address by Mr. Amlan Kanti Das, Senior Vice President Operations R&D Luminous Power Technologies Private Limited. I would request Sri Das to please come on stage. Adding on to the session, adding on to the experience sharing that our panelists have very beautifully done, and I must say a huge round of applause for all our panelists and our excellent moderator for weaving in the entire session so beautifully. So please.
So good afternoon everybody. I think I was amazed by the last discussion. We are very fresh in Odisha, and we are talking about invest in Odisha, and I will tweak a little bit. Invest now and protect the future. I think we have talked about chemicals, we have talked about fertilizers, agricultural things, and I think I was looking at the discussion where customers are connected. I am connected with Luminous Power Technologies, which is 100% owned by Schneider Electric, which is a French major MNC, and we are the top sustainable company in this world. And I think I wanted to take 5 minutes of opportunity that I am very happy Mr. Punia has given me on this dais. Really honored to speak about it. I think I will be sharing only 3-4 slides, so you have to take a moment, because there was a lot of good discussion already happened. But one discussion I want to talk about it, which is we can talk about business, we can talk about wealth, we can talk about building the state, but we have to protect this world. So we have to build whatever sustainable energy, decarbonization, efficiency, digitization, and that's the where we are coming in. Luminous is part of 100 million's home. I think all of you, some of you will be having our product inside you, providing power. We produce solar power, we produce energy storage, but today I take this opportunity to talk about which I feel this is an opportunity for Odisha and a very strong opportunity for Luminous and Schneider Electric in Odisha. For getting into this world further, I think we need to use more renewable energy. And for that, we require energy storage. And if you see this particular energy roadmap in India, I think you can understand that we are planning to do 500 gigawatt hour energy storage. And this is coming from around, for electric vehicle and for the renewable energy, because renewable energy is not available throughout the day and night. You need to have energy storage. And if you talk about 2032, it will become 1600. So it's like 2,400 gigawatt hour energy storage we need to have in India. But just to take you through this, that we are much behind the curve. And why? And this energy storage is nothing but lot of materials. And that's where we are coming in talking with Odisha, which is very strong in minerals and the materials. I think Muniaji has written very, not very big font, but in one corner, active material and negative materials, and the material for supply chain, where I am focusing on. Now, if I go to the next slide, just think about it. In the last 2024, energy storage in this world, we have produced in this world 1.5 terawatt hour. And out of this 1.5 terawatt hour, 60% was lithium iron phosphate, 59%. And if you see 4 by 5, like, 80% is actually for electric vehicle, and 80% from China. So we can understand that what is going forward. And if you see on the right hand side of the graph, all the chemicals, all the materials, everywhere, China is having a very strong grip of this material. And this material is very, very critical for future, because energy storage has to be there. If I go to the next slide, if you see that why this energy storage is becoming very critical, to become successful in this, what we need to do. Now, there are 4 points I wanted to talk about. One is poor access to new raw materials. So, if you see the graphs, there will be a lot of countries, Chile, DR Congo, Australia, China, everywhere. Well, recently I heard that GSI has found some stresses of lithium iron material in Odisha. I hope after Jammu Kashmir, this is the place where we are talking of. But I think that poor access of key raw material is a very, very critical for us. We need to find out the solution. Second one is localizing the lithium ion battery supply chain. Now, this is where I think the state like Odisha can play a big role, because they are strong in minerals. They know how to handle minerals and chemicals for a very long time. So this is the second part. And third part is we need a lot of investment. We may talk about so many things in different seminars, but ultimately the investment has to come in. And when we, 2 years back, when we were talking about Odisha government, I think within 15 days, I think they started swaying lands. I saw the speed at which Odisha government operates. It was phenomenal for me, because I am eastern part of the country. And when I saw, and in this state, it was really, really different from other states. So I feel all this investment attracting capability Odisha state has. Fourth one is huge energy requirement we need for manufacturing these batteries. Now, if I give you a number, for 5 gigawatt hour battery manufacturing require 250 gigawatt hour in an annual. So it's a huge energy requirement. I think Odisha is having energy surplus state, so that's a huge benefit. So I think these 4 challenges are facing in this energy storage. If I go to the next slide, can you go to the next slide, please? So if you see this, last year, the commitment of energy storage throughout the world. Now you see the India is, in the right hand side, is 2.2 terawatt hour, 220 gigawatt hour, not terawatt hour, 220 gigawatt hour where China is 5.8 terawatt hour. We are much, much behind other countries. So I feel that we need to manufacture, we need to understand these materials, we need to produce these materials. Opportunity is big, we have to quickly take action to find out what are the solution. And Luminous and Odisha can work together to find out the solution in a small scale, and then we can scale up. Now, when we talk about lithium ion, we talk about so many things we have to start afresh, but I think it's not that only this chemistry, alternate chemistries are going to play a big role in energy storage. So that's why I was talking about there are the lithium ion which will be coming on solid state. There are some few universities in India is working very actively, and there are lithium sulfur which is for the next future dense batteries. Now here I want to take a pause. We are working on aluminum ion with ICT, Institute of Chemical Technology in Hyderabad, which is now in a TRL level 3 and 4 level, but I think aluminum gives a big opportunity for future, which if can be successful can be very good solution for stationary ESS, which we are very interested for solar, for home. So aluminum is the one element we are working very, very seriously. Sodium, nickel, and bipolar lead acid. So these are the other chemistries which can give a very, very resilient supply chain. Remember, whatever chemical we are talking of, whatever material we are talking of, we need to make it a circular economy. Now, the circular economy of aluminum is very, very strong. For lead is very, very strong. For sodium is very strong, but not lithium so far. So I think this is one of the things that we have to keep our mind, not only the technology, we have to also think that resilient supply chain can actually make a big stride for us in future if I answering this problem of energy storage and getting green energy in our mix and also green energy at home. We have to reduce the carbon footprint for future. So that's the point I wanted to say, but for these three things are very, very critical we are working upon. I feel R&D is a very, very critical part, which we feel that we are not investing enough. This is our understanding of whatever we are working upon, because our investment on this part of chemical and material, I believe, is not that much whatever other part of the world is putting money. So, and there are a lot of precision engineering machinery also has to be worked upon, which I believe we need to work here in Odisha, and also innovative process development. I think we have to find out some innovative process, whereas, we are working on bipolar and we are working on nickel metal hydride, some batteries, which we feel it's a customized for Indian high temperature conditions rather than giving a particular solution of the world which is operating outside of the country. So thank you very much, and I feel Utkarsh is the word which is a rising Odisha. We are part of solar energy. We also produce solar panel, we also produce solar batteries, we also produce electronics. We are part of renewable energy. We want to be part of this chemical and material, which is the right answer for the future course of sustainable energy storage journey. I think we are together, and thank you very much once again for Utkarsh Odisha Conclave to give this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Amalakant Rao. And before we call upon the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, we'll actually, we had a very engaging discussion. We'll have a short Q&A from the audience. We'll throw it open and hear any questions. I think there is one question right here in the front row for the panel here.
Hello. It's not more of a question to the panel. My name is Sundar Balasubramaniam from UPL. We are present in almost all the countries. But one thing which I really want to thank the Honorable Chief Minister, Deputy Chief Minister and the Industry Minister and the State of Odisha, the way they moved the project clearances, it deserves a round of applause for them. I have not seen in any part of the state proposals getting cleared in 1 month. So it's really at a breakneck speed. And they have to also understand one thing, chemical industry, India is far behind and we need to really catch up. It's a question where a total environment is being created like in Dahej, but Odisha is doing it. It's been a very investor friendly. They have to realize that entrepreneurs and companies are going to invest a huge capex when it comes to set up of a chemical plant, etc. And the reciprocal basis they are doing it. We wish them all the best and thank you very much. It's really very great. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from anybody in the audience for the distinguished panel? And a very valid point, the speed point we talked about, we don't talk about the timing of doing business, right? That's very important, and I think the Odisha government has done a great job, right? And I think that establishes, right, we talked about momentum at the end, but there is clear hunger, right? And I think that's what we would expect from the industry as well to come forward. Can we also get similar such hunger for questions? Any questions? There's one question there.
Yeah, hello everyone. So my question is to all of you. When we talk about green hydrogen, green ammonia, so the main thing is the hydrogen storage, the hydrogen pipelines, because hydrogen is the most explosive element. And what is the main thing? The companies are doing R&D in the hydrogen storage and the hydrogen pipeline, and the same thing with ammonia. So these are very explosive elements. When it comes to green energy, it is obvious a green energy, but the safety concerns are made for hydrogen. So what is the main
It's a
question?
valid point. Maybe Manikanta, you want to take storage and transportation of hydrogen?
Green hydrogen, or we call it the future fuel, is a concept which is upcoming. This is one of the mode of, I should say, storage of energy. What we do is, in case of green hydrogen, we also consume lot of renewable energy, maybe the solar power, and convert the solar power into the hydrogen. Hydrogen as such is not usable, user friendly. That's why we normally convert the green hydrogen in green methanol, ethanol, or ammonia. Those are the modes of kind of converting into. And normally, as you rightly said, this is cryogenic, means it has to be transported at a very less temperature and all. So for that we have to have the specialized pipeline, and also because all the hydrogen that is envisaged to be manufactured within the country are primarily for the export purposes, for the Europe, Asian countries and all. So I believe this is a right question from the point of view of kind of making ourselves, creating the readiness, how to transport this to the port, how to store temporarily at the port, then ship it to the different destinations. So there are a lot of challenges involved. As you know that 25 years back, when we started solar power manufacturing, it was so difficult. Now look at it, so it's everybody's game. I believe this is a matter of time. We are going to master the art and take it as one of the future fuel for the mankind. Thanks.
Oh, thank you. I'll just add, yes, I'll just come to you, sir. I think I'll just add one more element, right? I think, why do we say hydrogen is fuel of the future, right? Because, see, eventually it's the concept of power to X. So X could be hydrogen, ammonia, methanol. It's essentially electrons back to molecules. Electrons are very difficult to store. Of course, Luminous and others are trying to do with batteries, but that is very challenging, right? We, of course, have increasingly batteries coming in electric vehicles. But if you get a hydrogen, it's a molecule, it's tangible, it's holdable. You can literally, if you can hold hydrogen. The challenge with hydrogen is not so much the combustibility, the challenge is the lightweight nature of it, right? You cannot use existing elements to do that, which is where cryogenic comes in, which is where compressed hydrogen comes in, which is where ammonia and its derivatives come in, therefore in fact now there is work happening, and R&D is the right word here, solid hydrogen, right? So you store as not just ammonia, which is also a gas, sodium borohydride, right? For 1 ton, or you still don't have 1, but 1 kg of that, you could get 4 kgs of hydrogen out of that, right? Once you, of course. So there is enough and more coming out of it. It is genuinely the fuel of future, but the future is still some far away. So with that, let's go to one question in the present. Yes, and then maybe we'll wrap up. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Samastaka Namaskar. Myself, Professor Sanjay Samantare, alumnus at Khodapur and founder president Indian Climate Congress. Sir, actually I have some queries about the plastics. You see our day-to-day life, every walks of life, starting from morning to till we are going to sleep, we are using a massive use of plastics. And that too, even for the drinking water. So many times it is proved that microplastics are coming through water to our body, and it causes many diseases also, everybody knows that. So I think this is the really platform we can take a decision how to control plastic, use of plastic. We cannot check completely, but we can take some decision, and particularly the laws should be stringent so that we can achieve something. Thank you.
I don't know, anybody has views on, I think it's a very thoughtful question, honestly, because, and I genuinely believe in this concept of design for zero waste. As we set up plastic plants, how can we ensure that there is a mechanism, say for reverse logistics or waste management or recycling or circularity? And I think it's a very important concept. I don't know, Manikanta, you want to have?
Okay, so, no, thanks for this question. I should say use of plastic is our, it needs a kind of attitude, way of life. So we talk about many things. There is a concept called reduce, recycle and reuse. So this is a very important concept. You go to any developed countries, they deal the plastic in a different way. We call that we should not have any kind of single-use plastic. It has a very big meaning. Are you doing it? Now it's more of a culture. We cannot completely avoid use of plastic in our day-to-day life. What is alternate? You must have seen in our, you go to the market, everybody picks up a plastic bag. Probably gradually, you cannot completely remove this. You cannot every time carry a jute bag from your home and carry the goods. So now the alternate is coming up. I should say it's more of innovation. How to replace the plastic with the more innovative products. The products are coming up. You can see the biodegradable bags. Those things are coming up. I gave one example. Probably this is a very big chapter, needs a discussion. You are a professor, probably will, you can also start thinking or, creating that kind of syllabus in your institute to create more awareness and, and use for the next generation. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, and we will close, and I think that's the right aspect, right? The green future that we are talking about, because green chemicals, by the way, the term denotes both parts. Chemicals that come from a green beginning, which could be cellulose, cyanogen and others, or chemicals that are not virgin plastic but reused plastic. In fact, Indian Oil itself is doing a large part of that, and I saw an Indian Oil management person here, and he was highlighting a significant elements that are being done on recycling of PE, etc. So with that green thought, we will close the Q&A for now and hand over back for ma'am's thoughts.
Thank you very much to all our panelists, our moderator. What a wonderful session we had. Can we have a huge round of applause? Such brilliant minds coming together and showing us the path ahead, navigating through so smoothly. Thank you very much, sir. All I must say is the industry and the government working in tangent is definitely heading us towards a sunrise of industrial excellence. Thank you very much to our moderator and all our panelists. I will invite them to join us off stage. And ladies and gentlemen, हम हमारे इंडस्ट्री पार्टनर्स से सुने, अब बारी है कि आप सबके समक्ष मैं आमंत्रण करने जा रही हूँ. I must add कि हमारे माननीय यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री जी का जो विजन है विकसित भारत और विकसित ओडिशा का विकास करके, she is definitely shouldering the responsibility to make it happen. Please put your hands together for a very special address by our Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, Srimati Pravati Paroda Madam.
प्रभु जगन्नाथंकर पवित्र भूमि, उत्कृष्ट कलार देश ओडिशा को उत्कर्ष ओडिशा रे पहुंचाइथिबा आपण समस्त को ये पवित्र माटी रे मु प्रथमे कृतज्ञता सहित आपण माने आम सरकार निमंत्रण रखी एटी पहुंचे थिबारु आपण समस्त को मु साधुवाद जनाउछ. Dear friends, we have here the Honorable Minister of Industries, Skill Development and Technical Education, my brother Sri Sampath Chandra Swami, Commissioner cum Secretary, Skill Development and Technical Education, MD IDCO and EPICAL, Sri Bhupendra Punyaji, respected the panelist, Mr. Ravi Goenka ji, Aditya Veri ji, N. Suresh Krishnan ji, Manish Kiri ji, and Manikant Nayak ji, and the moderator Manas Majumdar ji. I think honorable dignitaries on and off the dais, industry leaders, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, electronics and print media friends. It is my privilege to address this distinguished gathering during the chemicals, petrochemicals and plastic session at the Utkarsh Odisha Make in Odisha Conclave. We have here, this session is a testament to Odisha's aspiration of being a global leader in chemicals and petrochemicals while embracing the sustainability, innovation and advanced technology. Today's discussions have reaffirmed Odisha's leadership potential in the chemicals and petrochemical sector, highlighting key focus areas and opportunities. Odisha is rapidly advancing into specialty chemicals which are integral to industrial like pharmaceuticals, agrochemicals and performance materials. The growing demand for these high value products both in India and global markets present significant opportunities for the investment and innovation. Odisha's infrastructure and policy ecosystem are ideally suited to the support the growth of this high potential segment. With the global shift toward electric vehicles and renewable energy storage, the demand for advanced chemistry battery cells is rising exponentially. Odisha is positioning itself to lead in this domain given its strong industrial base access to raw materials and investors-friendly policies. Indian Oil Corporation Limited refinery in Paradip with its upcoming dual feed cracker unit is creating unprecedented opportunity for downstream industries. Paradip PCPIR is becoming the hub of value-added manufacturing in petrochemicals, ensuring Odisha remains competitive in a global scale. India is poised to become a global leader in chemicals and petrochemicals, with growing exports to regions like Southeast Asia, Africa, and Europe. Odisha, with its strategic location and access to deep water ports, plays a pivotal role in this journey. Our connectivity to Asian markets through ports like Paradip, Dhamra, and Gopalpur ensures that Odisha is not just a production hub but also a gateway to international trade. As Odisha continues its industrial transformation, the chemicals and petrochemical sector is a cornerstone of our growth strategy. Our government is committed to creating an ecosystem that fosters innovation, supports sustainable practices, and attracts global investment. With projects like Paradip Plastic Park and Technical Textile Park, Odisha is creating an ecosystem for value-added manufacturing, export readiness, and job creation. Odisha is heavily investing in green hydrogen production and bio-based chemicals, ensuring that sustainability is embedded in our growth trajectory. Through initiatives like Skilled in Odisha, we are preparing a workforce ready to meet the demands of advanced manufacturing sectors, including battery cell manufacturing, petrochemicals, and specialist chemicals. Ladies and gentlemen, Odisha is ready to lead India's industrial revolution and become a global hub for chemicals, petrochemicals, and advanced manufacturing units. As the panelist has discussed, Mr. Kiri has told us a government का स्पीड जो है वो नहीं थमना चाहिए. हम आश्वस्त करना चाहते हैं ये स्पीड हमें गति शक्ति पे निर्भर करते हैं. जो स्पीड है वो आगे तेजी से जाएगी, कम नहीं होगी. ये हमारी सरकार की आपसे वादा है. आप जैसे जानते हैं कि ओडिशा में डबल इंजन की सरकार है और आज डबल इंजन में आज जब सीएम ने आपको इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए ये सही समय है इन्वेस्ट करने के लिए बोले, देश की प्रधानमंत्री ने उस पर फिर प्रेशर लगा के बोले दिस इज द एग्जैक्ट टाइम टू इन्वेस्ट इन ओडिशा, मीन्स द इन्वेस्ट इन फ्यूचर. सो आई थिंक आई मस्ट थैंक्स ऑल द पैनलिस्ट and all investors in my front. Odisha is a hub for futuristic approach. Odisha has a major and where 480 kilometers coastal highways and coastal sea line. We have dense forest. We have lot of potentialities in lake, in birds, in forest, in tortoise. We are the sectors, I think, in which sector you will try to invest. Odisha is the best place to attract you. I must thank all of you. You come here with our invitation and we approach all of you in the blessing of Lord Jagannath. We must flourish with the help of each other. Thank you. Jai Hind. Vande Utkal Janani.
Thank you very much, ma'am. The passion and power in your voice spoke for itself that how deeply committed our government is to make this an investment haven for the industry. Thank you very much. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we have one more video that we would like to show. This is on behalf of Tata Steel SEZ. This video will be particularly depicting the industrial infrastructure related to chemical. So I would request everybody to please pay attention to the screen. Can we have the video, please?
The dazzling sun and roaring tides at Gopalpur witnessed the change in fortunes of a simple fishing village into a thriving commercial hotspot over the 19th and 20th centuries. Gopalpur, on the coast of Odisha, reflects the perfect correlation of geographical factors, maritime trade, and ancient traditions of the state. Inheriting this rich heritage, Tata Steel Special Economic Zone Limited presents to you Gopalpur Industrial Park, being developed on a walk-to-work model. Located in the Ganjam district of Odisha, Gopalpur Industrial Park is well placed between Bhubaneshwar, the capital of Odisha, and Visakhapatnam, a major economic hub in Andhra Pradesh. Gopalpur Industrial Park is situated on National Highway 16 and is linked to all major cities in India via the Golden Quadrilateral Network. In addition to being adjacent to two international airports, Bhubaneshwar and Visakhapatnam, the industrial park is also accessible via Rangelunda Airport and a deep draft Gopalpur port. The park's proximity to three railway stations, Barampur, Chhatrapur and Jagannathpur, adds to its multimodal connectivity. Spread over 2,970 acres of contiguous land, the park offers flexibility to choose between a multi-product special economic zone and a domestic tariff area. The industrial park has been designed by Surbana Jurong from Singapore to create a destination that delivers world-class infrastructure and other facilities for the growth of industries. The park has its dedicated infrastructure for uninterrupted supply of high-quality power. To meet the future demands, new power infrastructure is also under development. The industrial park has dedicated reservoirs and other multiple sources to fulfill the water requirement of industries, alongside a water treatment plant to ensure supply of treated water. The park is working on the development of a desalination plant and common effluent treatment plant for industrial needs. Wide internal road network with street lights facilitates easy movement within the area. The stormwater drainage network allows smooth passage of rainwater to the reservoirs. For expediting operations, dedicated office spaces and warehouses are also available. The exclusive utility corridor connecting Gopalpur Industrial Park to Gopalpur Port adds value to the area by providing faster access for movement of materials via road and pipeline connectivity. The industrial park is well positioned to allow faster setup time for industrial units, having gained environmental clearance from the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change for the entire region. Gopalpur Industrial Park is a proud home to companies like Tata Steel, Tata Consumer Products, Anadrone Systems, Kale Gas and Deepak Fertilizers and Petrochemicals, among others. The park is also poised to be one of the largest green hydrogen hubs in India, with the presence of multiple green hydrogen manufacturers. Tata Steel has partnered with Nettour Technical Training Foundation, NTTF, to operate JN Tata Technical Education Center. Every year, more than 200 students are trained and provided employment opportunities at the institution. While the industrial park is working on the development of social infrastructure facilities inside the area, including business center and accommodation facilities, abundant resources are available in terms of housing, medical facilities, educational institutions, and recreation in the peripheral regions. In incentives offered by the state government and the central government for both special economic zone and domestic tariff area are applicable at Gopalpur Industrial Park. The industrial park has attracted investments worth more than 32,000 crore rupees with an employment potential for 6,000 people. Tata Steel Special Economic Zone Limited strives to create an exemplary business environment where businesses of all categories and sizes find success. We welcome you to explore Gopalpur Industrial Park as your next investment destination. Come, be a part of the family where you find amazing possibilities.
Thank you very much. That was a glimpse into the industrial park. You're more than welcome to explore it firsthand as well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to propose the vote of thanks, I would invite Mr. C.P. Bhartiya, Member Noshi. So please.
Good afternoon, Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, Honorable Industry Minister, MD EPICOL, distinguished guests, industry leaders, policy makers and delegates present here. Usually this session is, this is the part of the session to say thank you and goodbye. So it is my privilege to be here to make, in this Make in Odisha Conclave, a platform to showcase Odisha's vision, potential and commitment to contributing significantly to India's industrial and economic growth. I would like to thank the organizers, the government of Odisha, for organizing such a beautiful session at the very appropriate time when the Odisha is poising in the chemical sector. The session holds immense importance as we deliberated on the roadmap of Odisha's chemical, petrochemical and plastic sector, which is poised to become a key driver of economic transformation, not just the same state, but for the nation as a whole. I think the outcome of the session meets with the vision of the Chief Minister of Odisha to contribute to India's Viksit Bharat mission. The state aims to achieve $500 billion economy by 2036, marking its 100th anniversary, and a 1.5 trillion economy by 2047, in alignment with India's goal of becoming global economic leader. Personally, I feel this vision is very well achievable. While MD EPICOL was making a presentation, I was thinking, being an entrepreneur of Odisha, that I know the most of the details, but the information given by you, sir, was very insightful, and I hope that the investors willing and proposing to come to Odisha will be very informed. I would like to thank Mr. Manas Majumdar for his inaugural welcome address, setting the ball rolling for the session, and I would thank also him for moderating the session for the discussion with the beautiful minds present here, giving insightful on the chemical and petrochemical sector. I would have liked that some discussion would have taken place on the plastic sectors also. Plastics in Odisha has some cluster portions, like North Odisha in Balasore, it has grown to be plastics. And I would like to mention a specific success story of past, when there was little known about plastics. A small company like Oriplast had come to Odisha in 1965 in a very small way. Today they have grown to be a very large scale with multi-locational company, and we had seen their logo in the presentation of our MD EPICOL also. This kind of mindset, we have the people in Odisha to develop the entrepreneurship and the industrial growth. I think the key takeaway from this deliberation today is the greater industry intervention in chemical and petrochemical sectors, existing greater interest in the chemical and petrochemical sector. Existing industries are very happy with the decisions of the in the Odisha. Request the government to continue the momentum which our Honorable Deputy Chief Minister has committed, that has assured that it will continue. The videos played by the Luminous or the Tata Steel, I think is our eye-opener and very informative. I thank one and all present here, particularly those who have come from all the way from different places of the country and other plus abroad for attending this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for proposing the vote of thanks. And ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our session on chemicals, petrochemicals and plastics. I once again thank all our dignitaries, our Honorable Deputy Chief Minister and Honorable Minister, sir. Thank you very much for your presence. Have a pleasant stay in Bhubaneshwar and see you soon. Namaskar.